Hey, everybody. Welcome to the listener question extravaganza. I think that's what we're calling it, right, guys?
Yeah.
Works, right? So with that, we've been getting a ton of questions. Thank you, everyone, for sending them in. If you want to send your question in, send it to askus@traptalkpodcast.com, and we'll make sure that these guys are answering for you. So with that, we thought we would do a big episode, pull all the questions that we have together, get as many of them out as you can so you're not waiting too long to hear from these guys. So with that, are you guys ready to jump in?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, great.
Well, Rick, before we get to the show, we got to take a minute and thank all of our sponsors because we wouldn't be here without them. This show is brought to you by Krieghoff.
Yes, Krieghoff. I've shot one since about 2006. Best gun out there. Balance, customer service, the people at Krieghoff, top notch.
Everything you need to know about a good shotgun, that's for sure.
Yes.
We got to thank Wenig Stockworks, custom gun stocks in Lincoln, Missouri. Nice hat, Ricky.
Yeah, I love my Wenig. I broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hundreds with my Wenig stock. But in all seriousness, get a hold of Bobby, Luke, or Bill. Get yourself a stock made. It'll change your shooting.
I want to say thank you to Remington. They've supported the show since day one, and they've supported me for a very long time. Made All-America team shooting Nitros and STSs for many years. And we also got to thank Game Masters. If you're looking for a gun, Ricky, you can help them out.
Yep, get a hold of me at Game Masters 2. Call me, text me, email me, send a smoke signal. I can get you any gun out there. We carry about every brand available in the trap, skeet, sporting clays. Even carry some hunting guns, some hunting rifles, whatever you need. We can.
I'm going to have to try that smoke signal. I haven't communicated with you that way yet, but that sounds like fun.
You like that?
So for the next sponsor, Shot Tracker, we just seen them at Vegas at the SHOT Show, and they gave us some great insight on the product.
Yep, it's like having a coach on the end of your barrel. They got some new updates coming out that'll really change the game with the Shot Tracker, make it a little easier to set up. So get a hold of them, get yourself a Shot Tracker, and it'll help you.
Want to thank you to Shotguns West, Ryan Castani, for being our Pillas sponsor. Where do you get your Pillas from? They're doing a great job. They've got the new frames out. They're sleek, they're modern, and they look fantastic. Also, really excited about this year's new sponsor, Outlaw Engineering.
Yeah, Outlaw Engineering. It's owned by Randy Freston II, R2. I've known him and his family for years. His dad's past president of the ATA. He does a lot of engineering in the oil field business. So get a hold of him for all his engineering needs you got, and he can hook you up.
Big thank you to White Flyer, making a great target and a great product. We've been smoking those all over the country, right, Ricky?
Yeah, they came out with a new Eco Flyer this year, so hopefully we can get to shoot them at some shoots. I know we did a lot of testing on them, and they are an awesome target, so a little alternative to the pitch target. So
looking forward to trying that out. Another thing that I'm looking forward to seeing more of is SOS Clays.
Yeah, the SOS Clay software owned by Greg Pink. Doing an awesome job. He's taken over the trap shooting world with his software. It's top notch. You know, get a hold of him for any needs you have in the shotgun world.
And last but not least, we got gun and trophy insurance. Rick, you got to tell me about that.
Yeah, you can get a hold of Cole or Larry Cushman, family-owned business, and they take care of all my needs on gun insurance. They also offer trophy insurance for all your wildlife trophies. To insure them too, but top notch. Get a hold of them and they can hook you up. Literally, it's simple. Get online, gunandtrophy.com. You can get a policy going in, I think, less than about 10 minutes. Very reasonably priced.
That's awesome. Thank you to all the sponsors. And with that being said, let's get on to the show. With that being said, Trap Talk listeners, if you love everything about Trap Talk, please subscribe to our page. Also, throw some likes on the videos that you enjoy. It really means the world to us.
Yeah, comment on each episode. We read them. We respond to them. With that, let's get to the show.
Welcome to Season 2 of Trap Talk.
Brought to you by Krieghoff.
Okay, here we go. So first question in, Jim is asking, he is saying, I am a one-eyed shooter. I shoot a Browning 725 trap over and under. I'm 60 years old. I started shooting about 5 years ago. After deciding to shoot singles, and holding on the house. I've started to move my gun up, and I've wondered if this is a better way for me to shoot or if I should stay down on the house as a one-eyed shooter. I'm hearing a lot of conflicting information. I guess that's a long way of me asking, can a one-eyed shooter hold a higher gun above the house? I live in New York. I hope to find an RM shooting clinic not too far away this year.
New Jersey.
Good idea, Jim.
Yep.
Good idea, Jim. So, Jim's asking, one-eyed shooter like me, can he hold above the house? Does he need to be down in the house? So you guys take it away.
I mean, honestly, it's all preference, to be totally honest. If you're comfortable and you can see every target one eye above the house, that's fine. No one says that you have to be on the house. And, I'm on the house, I'm a two-eyed shooter. Zach's on the house just a tad above, but, I'm on the house. It's everybody's different. So it's just a preference. I mean, whatever you're comfortable, as long as you can see every target. Now, here's the thing. If you're holding, some people think, 6 inches is a huge amount above the house. It's whatever your comfort zone allows you to be in, just run with it.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with you on this one, Rick. It's one of those things where when people say, I'm holding a higher gun, well, in relative to what, right? Like, are you holding Rich Bullard high where you're in the skyline and the apex and, you're holding 20 feet above the house? Like, okay, that's a high gun. But some people are like, I'm holding a high gun. And I'm like, well, how high? And they're like, well, about a half a foot above the house. And I'm like, really, that's not a high gun. I mean, that's pretty relatively low, maybe not as low as me and Rick, but whatever is most comfortable for you is what you have to run with. And I think as you get older and as eyes start to slow down, sometimes you get a little bit more uncomfortable seeing that flash out of the house. So I have seen some people move their gun up just a smidge so they could kind of get out of that zone of that target flashing out of the house. And, it's almost like they're making a new trap house line, where the top of the lid would be is wherever their gun is. And they don't move until it breaks the top of their gun. I mean, if you're doing that anyway, your brakes are going to go out a little bit maybe, but if it works, it works.
That's the thing. If it works, run with it. If it's easier for you to pick up the target in a clear sight, if you have to move up, that's fine. You just got to run with it and not second guess yourself. It's when you second guess yourself, that's when you start having issues.
I would say another thing to add to that too is, like, if he's really doing the practice that we talk about, test it, right? Maybe shoot a couple hundred rounds one way and a couple hundred rounds the other way, and then maybe take a journal and say, well, I noticed that I am missing the quarter lefts on 2 with the high holder, or I'm missing more, hard rights on 5 if I'm on the bottom of the house versus up. Like there's probably going to be some things that are going to be consistent, things that work better on certain targets and worse on other targets, depending on the post and how you see it. And then you've got to decide, okay, well, which one's going to give me the best overall movement? It's hard to say without testing.
So guys, let's take this just one step further then, because we get a lot of questions that come in about height of hold, right? And I think it's because they hear, Ricky saying, I'm down on the house, or they hear Zach, you saying, yeah, I'm sitting on the house, right? And you're right. It's a little subjective on what that means. But what about the fact that I think we want to put everything into a nice, neat box? What about the difference between post 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? Like, is there different hold point or maybe height of hold, since we're talking about high above the house, or are we on the same across the board?
I'm on the same across the board. I know in the old days, they always taught like a half moon to be low on 1 and 5, up just a little bit on 2 and 4, and then up a little higher on 3. I think you're mind screwing yourself by doing some of that stuff. So I would just, whatever you're comfortable with, try it. But Zach is correct and that's what I tell people a lot of times is don't shoot 5. Don't even shoot 25. Shoot 50 to 100 in that uncomfortable state, because it's different, and be like, man, I kind of like that. Just like I said, everybody's different.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're going to have to fight against maybe even some muscle memory of holding at a certain height, in the move that you're making. And how do you really know if you don't put, 3 or 4 boxes through it and see
if you've
it
done
can
anything
work?
more than 1,000 rounds, anything you do is going to feel uncomfortable for at least 100 rounds.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And it's
At
gonna be
least.
so comfortable for 200 or 300 rounds. I mean, it's
Right.
everybody's makeup is different. Like we've talked about this before. Eyes, what you see through different colors. Everybody sees different things and feels different things. So I would just say, listen, Jim, if you like it being 6 inches a foot up and you don't have a target that squeaks under your barrel, that's the downside to if you're shooting. So I don't change in windy conditions. You got a north wind, the targets are going up, I don't raise the gun up. We got a south wind, I don't have to put the gun down because I'm already on the house.
You can't go lower than that.
It's one dimension. That's where I'm at. I don't have – and what happens then you get this into play a lot more, and that's bad.
Yeah, for sure. And also the everything around the gun club of like, well, the guys are saying I'm a one-eyed shooter. I can't hold 2 or 3 inches above, right? All that kind of stuff too, right? What works for you, right? That you have to find what works for you. You see it the way you see it. And yeah, Jim, Ricky's going to be out in New Jersey, so check the website.
Yeah, I'll be at Pine Valley Gun Club, and that is the 18th and 19th of April, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All
Coming
right.
in hot.
Well, that.
Yeah. 18th and 19th of April.
Coming in hot.
If you want to, get a hold of me, Bud Feeney's the contact guy for that. I think we're getting pretty close to full on that, but then I'll be in Delaware County Sportsman's Club right after that on the 21st through like the 25th doing a lot of half day and full day private stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, this is the Q&A extravaganza, so we're going to keep it moving forward here. Next question coming in from Kurt, Casa Grande, Arizona, right next door to me over here. One of your upcoming Q&A videos, could you please dive into the purpose of say a 100% POI, or for that matter, the purpose of setting up different POIs? Point of impact for everybody out there. I understand what POI is, but I'm not sure to say what 100% POI shooter sets the gun at this way because they have the tendency of stopping the gun when they pull the trigger. Thus, on a rising target, the shot leaves the gun above the target and has a built-in lead, ? Or do the good high POI shooters still keep the gun moving? So, why are we using high POIs in trap? Is it the built-in lead theory around POI? So Kurt wants us to dive a little bit into POI and how that's affecting the trap shooting there.
Well, I'm shooting about 80-20. I'd say 75 to 80% high. Zach, that's about what you are, isn't it?
I might be just a scotch higher than you, Rick, but I mean right about 80-20, 90-10, the max.
I'm not. So let's just, 100% high is 15 inches. Okay? So your center of your pattern is 15 inches above the target. Now, or your where you're holding.
Point of aim
for a patterning board. I'm not a big fan of 100% point impacts. Never have been, never will be. You start to float a target. You get lazy with moving to a target. I like driving through a target, that follow through. I just, that's me. Everybody's different. So I don't think I would. If you want it 100%, that's all you. But here's what I would recommend: not putting it on a patterning board. Patterning board is for when you're getting a stock made by our lovely sponsor, Wenig Custom Gun Stocks, Lincoln, Missouri. Shameless plug for Wenig.
Shameless plug.
We go down, we'll shoot the patterning board, make sure it's straight, left to right. POI, I want to shoot at a target. So when I set my guns up, I go out and set it on straightaway, 16-yard line. I'll shoot maybe 3 or 4, but I start at the 27, stand there, and I'll shoot till I'm center punching a target. Whatever that point of impact is, it is. Honestly, right now, if I did and measured it and bench pressed it, it's probably 75 to 80%. That's it. So I wouldn't recommend jumping out and saying, "Oh, I need 100%."
Yeah. I don't think there's ever like a okay, I've got to set my gun to this point of impact to have success, because I mean, as much as we're saying don't set it to 100 and start, I'm not even recommending setting it to 80 and 20 to start, because just because Rick has it that way or I have it that way doesn't mean it's the right. But what I think it comes down to at the end of the day, the question that he had is, do you jack your gun up so that you can like come to the target, stop the gun and shoot? Like, no, if you're going to shoot solid fundamental trap, you want to move with the target, and as you're squeezing the trigger, you want to have some follow through. Now, that being said, Ricky Marshall is a strong man. He's built. I'm maybe not as strong as Rick, but I'm trying, right? So we all move the guns at different speeds. Yep. And so when you're, and I've talked to a lot of the great shooters in the country and asked them, what do you see? And most of the best shooters are going to say, well, what I see is I'm pointing right at the target. Like, I'm pointing right at the target. Now, pointing right at the target for Zach Danini, the way I move the gun, the speed that I move it from the house all the way down there, creating all that muzzle energy all the way up to the bird, by the time I get there, 80-20 is going to do the job. Now, with that follow through or whatever that is, maybe my pattern on that dimension of everything moving is actually higher than 80-20, because, how could you actually know what it's doing when you're using momentum of your gun into it? But you ask someone like Ray Stafford, for example, he says he sees the same thing as me, no floating, right to the target, and swears up and down his gun's 30 inches high, so I think it has to do with
27, I think is what he said before.
I apologize for being wrong again, Rick. My fault. I'm going to do better, but I'll try to be more factual.
Talking too much, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's a new year. Come on.
It's new year, new me, but same old me, same old me, same old bullshit. But that being said, you can't just say this is the point of impact for everyone. At the end of the day, it has to do with how you move the gun. And I would recommend solid fundamentals. The one advice I would never give is don't set it so that you could go to it and stop and shoot and hit it. Like, if you're doing that, that's real. That's fundamental. There's nobody teaching that style. Like,
there's a new style for you, Zach. You can start
it's the do it the wrong way style. But I mean, even guys that are holding up and waiting on that target and making smaller moves. Well, if you're making a smaller move, that's less gun speed. Less gun speed might create more need for point of impact. The more left to right shooting, more point of impact. More up to down, less point of impact.
Like how we move the gun, I move a little quicker. I'm matching the target speed with my barrel speed. Sean Hawley and I shoot pretty close to the same exact way. Same point impacts. He shoots a top single, I shoot an unsingle. I'm sure I could take his gun, he could take mine, and we could shoot and break targets, okay? Mm-hmm. That's the one thing is you get that inertia moving, and it's going to move, okay? And that's what I always say, like shooting a gun with a lighter barrel, it moves quick, but it stops faster.
Correct.
A heavier barrel gun, it moves slower, but once she's moving, that inertia's moving.
It's kind of like us. When we get moving, we're moving.
That's right. If I get to rolling, you better move out the way.
You get us to full speed, and you better get out of the way. I mean, there ain't no stopping that.
Right.
You see me running, and you're standing there, I'm not stopping, folks. I can't. I'm sorry.
See that is a little lesson in inertia, folks. Inertia. It carries.
Yeah.
So,
listen, a lot to learn here on the Trap Talk podcast.
That's right.
Sure. Hello, Trap Talk listeners. Today's episode is brought to you by Wenig Custom Gun Stocks.
That being said, a custom gun stock is going to elevate your game to get the same fit every single time.
And I can attest to that. I broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hundreds with my Wenig custom gun stock.
I haven't broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, Rick, but I did break 100 from the 27 within 7 days of getting my stock, and broke 2 more that year and loved it.
Here, this is
okay. You would take it or me?
We'd like to thank Wenig Custom Gun Stocks for supporting Trap Talk.
That being said, everyone knows
Winners shoot winning.
Are we doing the import?
Coming in from Michael Stake. Michael says, I was just wondering what your thoughts are on the length of barrel for 16-yard versus 27-yard. Also, which is better, a top single or an unsingle? I love to watch all the podcasts, and I'm hoping to meet you guys at the Grand this year. Michael. All right, so Michael is
I like
interested
Michael.
in top single.
Yeah.
It's the oldest question in the book. You know, how long a barrel do you need to get the job done?
Well,
Let's figure
different
it out.
opinions,
What do you think, Rick? What do we need? Longer barrels, shorter barrels? Come on.
Well, here's the deal. So
He's talking about for single shot. He's saying singles and handicap.
let's start with 16-yard line. Singles, listen, I've shot my over and under, messed around at time or two. Heck, last year at Wisconsin State shoot, I had to shoot my sporting gun on a round of singles because I had an issue. And, I break targets. Now, you take someone, Leo Harrison III, Big L, our greatest, the GOAT of trap shooting.
Yep.
He always shot his over and under. He liked that because he shot it for singles, and then he shot it in doubles. So same, area, okay? He shot a lot of 200s, folks. And I mean, I wish the Big L was still around so everybody could watch him shoot that never got a chance to watch him shoot. I mean, just how he would center punch a singles target with that over.
Hard.
Now, I like my single barrel. I like the way it moves for me. It's all like going back to point impact, going back to gun height, hold height on the house. It's preference. If you want to shoot your over and under, I would say shoot it. Don't be flipping back and forth, okay? Now, when you shoot your over and under, I would recommend shooting the bottom barrel first, less felt recoil, okay? Mm-hmm. That now takes us into just going for handicap. I think a longer barrel, longer sight plane is better for handicap versus an over and under, okay? But then, now let's go into top single versus unsingle. That's preference. You get less felt recoil with an unsingle than you do a top single. It's preference, folks. I like an unsingle. I shot a MX3 Special Prozzy in 1988. And in 1989, I went to an unsingle. And from 1989 to, what's today? The 8th of February.
On the 24th year.
On the
24th year of our Lord.
To shoot an unsingle. I love an unsingle. It's me. So
yeah, I think, it's all of these questions we're getting, it's surprising you get them asked 8 different ways, but they're all just like, it comes out to preference, right? So the shorter barrels are going to swing a little faster, but they're not going to have as much sighting plane. I feel like that longer rib, that longer sighting plane can feel smoother on the eyes because you've got something like a nice runway to look down. But then again, it's also a little bit, slower, right? So long distance shots, those 27-yard shots, I like the smoothness of that long barrel. Up close, you just got to make the decision. Do you want to shoot the over-under or do you want to shoot the single barrel? I think when Rick said preference on unsingle versus top, I agree 100%. But I also think that there's some things that come as a benefit from one to the other. The unsingle, you're going to see more visibility. So if you want more visibility, or maybe you're potentially a one-eyed shooter and you like to have all that visibility, well, then there you go. If you like to have reference with the barrel, I've shot in my career, I've shot half of the years with a top single and half of the years with an unsingle. And I can tell you that I felt like I shot handicap maybe just a scotch better with the top single because I was pointing the barrel on the target.
You were on the 22-yard line then, so I mean.
Well, that's true. It was short yardage shots.
All right, folks, we're a little froggy today.
But I have a lot more vision with that unsingle, which I really like. But you don't have as much reference. So if you're shooting off the end of the barrel at all, like some shooters do, a top single is going to give you more representation of where you are in the sky versus an unsingle.
If you use space in between your beads, then a top single might work for you. An unsingle might work a little better. It's all it all boils down to preference on everything. Honestly.
Try it, folks. Try it. Try an unsingle. Try a top single. Buy lots of Krieghoffs. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Listen,
Get all the barrels. Get all the barrels from Ricky. Yeah, I think this is a great theme. You know, your shooting, your eyes, your move to the bird, all these things, they are going to come down to you're going to have to try. No one can sit here from a distance, especially, and say, this is the gun you should shoot. This is your POI. This is the lens you should be wearing. We can't do it. So try.
You can't.
It.
Now there are some little rules that you could maybe feel like if you see someone that's, maybe my size and moves the gun relatively like, well, then, okay, maybe he's going to be that same way. And if you see someone that's, really, really, maybe a younger person, a newer shooter, maybe they're not going to be shooting a 16-inch stock and a 34-inch unsingle Krieghoff. Like maybe they might need
fair. That's fair.
Right, like look at the size of the person.
I used to shoot a 16.5 length of pole.
Yeah, but you've always been big. You said you were a big old kid that they thought was 30. So like
listen, if I just dye this black, Trey and I, when we walk around, they think we're brothers. He gets madder than hell.
Tyler's about to be taller than you in about 5 minutes.
I know.
Yeah,
he's rolling.
Hello, Trap Talk listeners. Zach Nannini here, and I'd like to thank our show sponsor, Remington. And today, I would like to go into what shells I use when I'm training and when I'm shooting tournaments. First of all, we start with the Gun Club. This is a great shell. I shoot an 1145 ounce and 1/8, and this is what I shoot for singles and both shots of doubles. The only reason I don't shoot this in tournaments is because I like a little bit of a harder shot, a little bit of a harder break, but it works great, and it's the same speed as this STS shell. So this STS shell, a little bit harder shot, figure 8 wad column, smokes the targets a little bit harder. Also, I shoot for singles and doubles, both shots. And then when I go to the back fence and I want to put the smoke on them, I bring out the Nitro 27 ounce and 1/8, 7.5. It's a 1235 shell, blast the targets, works really well. I hope these shells work for you, and I want to thank Remington for supporting Trap Talk.
Okay, the extravaganza continues. Okay, here we go. Coming in from Gary. Gary asks, here he goes. Oh, so guys, you guys talked about rib height and barrel awareness. I think this kind of goes with what you were saying, Zach. I shoot a KX6 special, and I'm a one-eyed shooter. Should I think about changing to a flatter rib to get a better barrel awareness and improve my scores? So a little, he's shooting a KX6 special. He's one-eyed, and he's wondering about changing to a flatter rib. And I guess he's maybe asking top single? If he's thinking flatter rib, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Top single would be just a little bit flatter, but then you're going to a K80. There is no flatter barrel for the KX6 special.
Maybe the question from Gary is, should I change from a KX6 to a K80? Maybe that's the question.
Well, I mean,
give it a try, Gary.
You could. Here's the thing: there's really no flat rib top singles. The old style, you could find one possibly, but I haven't seen any around.
Yeah, maybe somewhere used you might find a top single. Who shoots one that shoots one really well? I remember.
Well, K shoots the unsingle, traditional K80 unsingle, but there is no one that's shooting a top single that I know of. The old style top single. I mean, you could go to a flat rib over and under if that would work. Something like that might help you.
Yeah, I think Gary's kind of in the line of what Zach was saying. If you want to try to have a little more barrel awareness, you think that would help. Try something that has more of a top single setup to it.
I would, before he goes and shells out all this money, just see who's got a flat rib gun at the gun club, and you got a buddy. I mean, Gary, we're just, hey, can I try your gun?
Give it a try. Yeah.
And like we used to do when I was new, we would have 7 different guns on the rack with our buddies on Wednesday night at practice, and we'd be like, hey, can I try that thing? And back and forth, and you're not letting people really adjust your guns if it's set the way you want it, but just to try it and kind of get the feel of it. Like there's going to be someone with something set similarly that you could mount a couple times and feel like, okay, I can see what that looks like.
Man, maybe like that, or that's not good, But or the other thing is, come to the Grand Ohio State shoot at the Cardinal Center. All the vendors
Anywhere where they have used guns for sale and then they have a shooting range, they'll usually let you try the used guns, for a round. I know Ricky, he'll let you do it for a small fee, right, Rick?
No, we got guns and game masters. Come to Tucson. We got a lot of used guns. I'll go out there with you, see how it works. And
no fee.
That's Zach. Yeah, that's Zach just trying to come up with new revenue models. Yeah.
It's a revenue perpetual model, but yeah, I mean, try it out. Don't be scared, and and see what you think.
Best thing to do, Gary, is give me a call. I'll
give Ricky a call.
I can kind of walk you through and just say, hey, what's really going on.
Gary, I'm gonna put Ricky's number right here in this part of the video. So just look down. There's his number. I'm gonna put your number up there.
It's gonna be really big.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Yeah. So we have a question coming in from Gino from Durham, Connecticut. Gino asks, when transitioning to the second target with the dipping of the barrel and shooting that target, do your eyes follow the dip or do you look out for the target? During that dip move.
Don't follow the dip.
Don't follow the dip.
No dippy do. No, what you do is your eyes will, they're in relation to the gun, but no, it's not like that. It's not one of these. You're gonna look, your gun's gonna move, your eyes are gonna move a little bit but not down with it.
Show me the eye transition left to right, Rick. Look at the camera and make it go that way.
Pull the trigger and move those eyes.
It's bang. It's like bang. And as soon as you shoot, your eyes go and the gun will dip and go. That way you can always see it. Because if the gun's up here and you come across, you block out the target.
Right.
So,
now I'm going to say this. I shoot doubles very similarly to Ricky. I don't notice as much dip. And personally, like where I'm breaking that first target, and Ricky scolded me and said, you're breaking that target a little too close to the house. But like where I break that first target holding low, it's down there so low that I don't need to dip to get over to that other one. I'm just looking over and I'm going over and up. As long as you're not going up to it, you're not going to cut that backside. Now, the higher you hold on that first shot of doubles, the more dip you're going to have in between, because obviously that target is going up and up and up, and you have to break it and go from there. But I don't see as much dip as Ricky does. I mean he's really a nice clean kind of a, what is that, like an L or a U? I mean, what do you describe that as, a J?
It's just a slight down and kind of, it's almost like a check mark kind of.
Yeah, it's a check, and
it's like a J.
But I've seen some people do this, and I want to caution against it because I think Ricky's against this too. I've seen some people that take that "we got a dip" thing, and they shoot that first one, and they throw the gun down 6 inches and kind of do this deal. Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about, inches or feet of dip. We're talking about just enough to be able to catch that line, right, Rick?
Yes. So now, since Zach's a little winded, so I'm going to give Zach a quick doubles lesson on post one, because that's what Zach misses
on the house.
Doubles is he goes pop, and he doesn't come down. He goes up and he'll do this reverse J, and he's like, and he goes up and he'll short. You'll break. It's usually your second or third pair on post one you miss.
That's not the one you want to miss.
Because you're in speed mode.
As you're going up more instead of over more, you're going to cut the back right hand side of that left hand target, and you're going to stop the gun.
You're blocking it and you stop. So I always recommend go up and then just come down a little bit and over and then up. So if you're going this way and then up to the target, you can see the move. Now that's a nice thing. Shameless plug. Shot tracker. Yeah. If you got a shot tracker, shoot some doubles, you'll see that move on the graph, and it's like, oh, okay. So it's just that slight, you shoot, your eyes go over, the gun drops a little bit over and up. It's just, I call it a little loop, little U move. But
Ricky, you're getting better at shameless plugs. They're more natural for you nowadays. You're sliding.
Hey, shameless plugs are good.
I like
shameless plugs are good. Yeah. I've noticed that if you move your eyes on that trigger pull on the first bird, the dip of the gun is more natural. It's just because you're looking out at the bird, the gun is kind of just dipping naturally, and it's not so much of a forced thing. But I've always found too I don't know for you guys, but post 1 and 2, those are my slowest pairs. I'm a right-handed shooter. You know, for me, it seems like that post 1 pair, because I see the back of that left bird, and then I got to make that extra little push over to the front of it. You know, those are my slowest pairs. But man, you get me on post 4 or 5. I'm telling you, man.
You're
grind.
with your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
You might want to turn your feet a little bit more, John.
Yeah, I've been working on that actually. I've always think about you when I look down at my feet when I get there. I'm like, yep, let me just try a little bit more to the left.
Open up on 1 and 2 so you're not bound.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm trying to open up just generally. You know, trap shooting.
It's hard.
Life,
I mean, I've had a hard time. Ricky's helped me with my opening up, but generally I'm very shy.
You are. We need to get you to get out of your shell a little bit.
You out of your bubble.
One day I'll come out of my turtle shell.
Zach's bubble is freaking titanium.
All right, this is coming in from
heart of mine. It's impenetrable.
Yeah. Next question coming in from at typical trap shooter. It says, I kind of have 2 questions here, but would you mount your gun? Jesus. I'm going to learn how to, you know what I'm going to do this year? I'm going to learn how to read out loud for you guys. All right, here we go.
Do we give 2 firsts in questions, or do we have to skip him like
I think now
first?
how bad I've butchered his question, I think he can have a twofer here. Yeah. So this one's on me, bud. Okay. I kind of have 2 questions here. Does mounting your gun daily really help? And if so, how many times a day do you think? For the second question, how do I stop myself from predicting where the target comes out and then where it goes somewhere else? Also, love the videos. Keep up the good work. All right, so I'm going to summarize here. Does gun mounting help? How many times should I be doing it? And sounds like he's anticipating the direction of the target, maybe moving his gun on the call a little bit there. How do we stop doing that? Yeah, discipline.
He's trying to be like Zach. It's,
Zach don't read.
You're trying to see the future.
Zach just moves on the call sometimes accidentally.
Trust me,
he's trying to see the future there.
So gun mounts, yes. I recommend it. If I haven't shot for a while, I'll do gun mounts. And I haven't shot since November. So
it's been a while.
I've been doing some gun mounts. I'm actually going to shoot some 5-stand this weekend. And we'll see how that is, But I recommend, do 25, rest for a minute, do 100 total in a day, and you can do it every day. I mean, that's up to you. How much? Here's the thing, folks. You get out of this what you put in it.
Bingo.
Right.
That's
100%.
And if we just go back, and this is really hard for me and Ricky to talk about fitness, but if we just go back to muscles in the body and talk about like mounting the gun and the muscles it takes to hold the gun up, like would it make sense that doing more gun mounts would make you stronger and better, or would it mean that if you do less you're going to be like it's kind of a, like I almost say a no-brainer for people. Like you mount the gun, you're exercising those muscles. Yep. The more muscles you have there, the longer you can hold the gun still. The longer you can hold the gun still, the longer you can go when you're doing 200, 300, 400 target days, shoot offs at the ground, whatever it is. I mean, I've seen Ricky shoot 500 or 600 clays in a day with his long shoot, and he's just like doing it like it's nothing. Well, he's been working those muscles for what, 30 years now, Rick?
Well, but going back to like starting, okay, I haven't shot since November. It's February. I'm leaving here next week to fly to California and teach, and then I'll fly home, get my truck, and drive out because everybody can tell by my voice, I've been a little sick with a upper respiratory deal. So I'm just trying to rest because it's going to be a busy next couple of months. But it's one of those things is the beginning of the year, so like the spring grand, at the end of each day, I'll be like, back will hurt a little bit. And I'll go back to the camper and do gun lifts. I'll sit in Game Masters in the store, and I'll just grab a gun off the wall and mount it 15 or 20 times and put it back, try another one, do different. People are, you're working, and it's like last year, this time, Zach and I were in Dubai.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Now we worked a lot. We shot a lot over there, a lot of practice. And at the end of the day, I mean, we was we was worn a little bit, a lot of walking.
I was eating some serious shawarma after we were done with those days.
Yeah. But it's one of those, like I go back to, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you want to be able to, so say like come June, July, August, when we got the big state shoots, the Grand, I'm getting in those long shoot off days if I'm fortunate. I can stand out there and do that because I've built up those muscles all year long.
Correct.
But really, I'm working,
Now, I will say this. I had a year, this was a long time ago. I think I registered like 25,000 targets that year. It was like the most I ever shot in a year. And in that year, I didn't do too many gun mounts because I did 25,000 registered targets, right? So, if anything, in between shoots, I was almost letting my body rest and recover instead of doing mounts every single day. So, like, if you're shooting all the time, Ricky's not doing gun mounts after 300 targets in his trailer, right? Like, he's doing them in the off season.
I'm doing curls.
Yeah, well, we're doing 12-ounce curls.
Yeah.
2 ounce. 2 ounce.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
2 ounce
Yeah.
curl.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
we missed the other question, the whole anticipating the clay thing.
Well, we haven't got to that yet, Zach. I was waiting
we're
on
moving
you.
on
Long.
to that now.
I'm waiting on you, Rick. I'm waiting on you.
The anticipation. Are you looking at everybody's targets and trying to go, okay, that went left, that went right. Oh, I should get this. If you're doing that, you've already beat yourself.
Yeah, that don't work.
Not the way to shoot the game.
No.
No.
Mount your gun, look out there, call, pull. Oh, there it goes, and go. That's it. That's very simple and straight to the point.
But not easy.
Nothing else.
It's very simple, but not easy.
Gun still.
I think
not
that's not
easy.
as common as what actually happens, though, is people get over to post 1 and they're scared of the left, or they get over to post 5 and they're scared of the right. So they're not really reading the trap. They're just like, oh shit, that right's going to come out, and I've got to throw the gun at it, and they're scared, right? And at the end of the day, you just have to understand that there's no target that can beat you. You've broke them all. You've broke every angle and every shot there is on the field. So just see the bird well and make a good reaction to that bird. If you
trust yourself
and go after it.
Plain and simple.
See it then go has been my new kind of blocking phrase that I've been using because I've been struggling with that. Just like you're saying, Zach, I'm holding on 5. A bird doesn't come out. Ricky, you've seen me do this. You've busted me on this so many times. Bird doesn't come out and the gun moves like this a couple inches.
4 feet off the left-hand side of the house, right? And it's like, and it sucks because here's what ends up happening too. If the pull is like kind of on time but a little slow, and you're coming out of the house,
you're
when you're actually making
screwed.
that move, you're like, well, I made the same move on that one as I did the one before, but you were moving from a completely different hold point.
Right.
By the time you actually got to that clay, I mean, you were 3 feet out in front of it before you even started. And that's going to cause your brain to go, oh, something happened wrong. And you miss. And you're like, I don't know what happened. It's because you didn't do it the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I don't know if you guys can feel this anymore just because of how long you've been doing it. But on the days where I'm dialed in, I can feel that heartbeat in between call, seeing the bird, and moving. Like that little just split-second heartbeat of not moving the gun.
You're next level.
And you will just decimate. No, that's not like. No, that's not
Wow.
Okay, all right.
He's over there.
Zach's got no heart, so it's okay.
Yeah, okay,
I don't
all right.
feel
sorry,
that,
sorry.
folks.
Heartbeat was the wrong term. Okay, moving on. Hey, Rick, this is a quick question that came in. He didn't leave his name, but has Richard ever shot the Hartford Gun Club? I think this is probably coming in from some of your traveling with Ricky Marshall videos.
Hartford, Connecticut.
I'm
not.
It just says Hartford Gun Club, so yeah, let's assume Hartford, Connecticut.
We don't know.
All right, there's your answer.
I know
he has not.
At Hartford, maybe I'll venture up there. I'm gonna be traveling a lot this year. I'm gonna be driving to a lot of places. I was gonna haul my fifth wheel to some, but I might just drive instead. And if I haul it to whatever, I'm gonna try to stop at many different gun clubs along the way. Do a little quick video, throw it up there, give a shout out to all these clubs and small clubs, and just to
traveling with Ricky Marshall. We love them.
Hey,
These are fun
If
videos.
he hasn't been to a gun club and you would like him there, all you have to do is arrange a Ricky Marshall Jr. shooting clinic, and he will
That's very
come
true.
he will come to a gun club near you and teach you how to hit some clays. So that's a shameless plug for my favorite.
Shameless
co-host.
plug. Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
Gives me a shameless
All
plug.
And if you need to raise money and understand how money works, hit up our guy here, Zach Nannini. Shameless plug.
We
Okay.
do what we can, and every once in a while there's a couple client appreciation dinners as Ricky and maybe John too, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Never a bad thing. All right, moving on. Here we go.
In 2023 here, we have done 37 state shoots, 7 of the 11 satellite grants.
We're almost there.
So most of
We now have, I think it's 241, 242 clubs across the country using our system.
If a club was wanting to use you, do you have like a base entry level pricing or packages that you advertise, or is it based on the size of the shoots, Greg?
Our base level price is $0. Our complete package system, the whole enchilada, is $0.
$0 is a good
It's a
price.
good price. It's a good
Well,
price.
the premium members do not pay a pre-squad fee, ever.
Yeah.
For all year.
All year.
Can I buy a lifetime membership?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Gotta be your first lifetime
is there a
I want to
5-year?
be number one. Zach,
We want lifetime memberships for me and Ricky.
Should a shooter always look at the beads when mounting the gun as a check for alignment and then look out beyond the barrel and call for the target?
I mean, you can't. I do at times. If that you mount the gun, some days you're like, is this my gun?
Don't fit right.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We all
yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that might be those days, but
Especially after
it's
the
not
holidays.
doing it all the time. It's all going back to the first couple questions. It's all preference. If you like that, here's what I'll say. It's probably not a bad idea to make sure everything's lined up and then look out. So it gives yourself a split second for your eye to adjust versus just mounting and calling. That's
I do mount the gun. My eyes are closer to the barrel, and then I move my eyes out. And for me, if I have that process every time, it's the same every time. Now, I will say that there's been times in my shooting career where I'm shooting under light and I feel like I'm in my area, and then I set my eyes where I want them and I just throw the gun up. And so, you could do it both ways. There's some people like imagine like a Freddie Nagel. Freddie's tossing that gun up and calling pull, or Jimmy Heller tossing that gun up and calling pull, and like their whole definition of the game, even Benia's towards the end of his game was, I want to keep my eyes out there, and when I get that gun to my face, I'm calling pull, and I'm not even thinking about where the gun is, and I'm really intently keeping my eyes out there the whole time. I mean, and there's some shooters that have done that with some great success. I find that if you are going to look at the beads, you're going to need an extra half a second or a second to actually
Get your eye,
transition the eyes out there.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I thought, Ricky, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Leo a bead checker every time? Or am I not?
I mean, Leo mounted the gun and, his eyes he kind of looked around the barrel.
Oh, okay. Because I'm going off of the Sunrise Production DVD where I remember him saying, I mount my gun, I check the beads, I look out, call for the...
He did. He looked, and then he looked around.
He did not throw the gun up and call pull quickly, though. He threw the gun up, and everything got ready, and then he called pull. I mean, he had a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And that's where I got a lot of mine was from Frank Hoppy did the same thing, Leo.
Yeah.
All that is, I look through the beads. So I see them all the time. I want to make sure they're lined up. I mean, I could throw up my gun with my Wenig stock, and it's the same place every time. That's the beauty of a Krieghoff and a Wenig stock. It's just perfect. So
all you need, baby.
Shameless plug. So I think people would be surprised who haven't seen you shoot, Ricky, is how much time you do hold the gun before you call pull. Because I think a lot of shooters who haven't seen some of the greats shoot, they think, like what Zach was saying, that they're just throwing the gun up, calling pull, smoking birds. I was a little surprised when I saw you bring it up, hold till you were ready, and then shooting. So just a note out to everybody, there's no need to rush that shot. It's your shot. Get the gun up, get ready, then take it, right? Then call
There's
roll.
not, but the best advice I ever got from anyone was your eyes will tell you when they're ready. And like there's
I
some
agree with
days
that.
I've seen Rick like get the gun up and he's ready and it's more quick. And there's some days that maybe, you know, we had too many of those 2-ounce curls and you got an extra an extra little bit to look before you call pull, if you know what I mean.
Well, here's the thing too, and I'm going to give a shameless plug to my buddy Stupid, aka Dave Kelly from Dave Kelly Trucking. So Dave got on me one time. I was rushing towards the end, and this was, this is in the early 2000s. I'd get down towards the end of a round, and at the end of
it was the silver dollar in like 08.
Well, yeah, and this was before that. This was about like 02 or 03. And I shot, and I was quick shooting, and I'm like, and Dave goes, "You are going way too fast." And I'm like, hey, "You're probably right." Okay, so now, and here's the thing too, as we get older, eyes a little different. When I get back in handicap, singles I can get away with just mountain, pull. Handicap, though, I really set and I let my eyes, I want to be able to see good. And Zach's right. When your eyes are ready, you know. So but I slowed down a little bit. So I will say, you know, I'll give a shameless plug to Dave that, you know, he did give me that little info, which my father had been telling me. Jody had been on me about it. But it's like, and then when your buddies stand there next to you, your competitor, and he's like, dude, you know, and I just pissed away a target I had a 99, missed the 98, had a 98 now, and he's like, so the next event, I'm like, slowed down, I'm like, yeah, I broke that last 5. So
yeah, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due to Dave Kelly, but that being said, if he ever sees that again and you're down, I'm going to tell him not to say nothing because, I mean, you're too damn good at giving tips. You just leave you alone.
20 years ago, a lot of things have changed, you know? So.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you for that question. That was a great question. All right, we're moving on.
Shoot the first one and then loop to the second one and drive through it. Oh. Just like that.
Great shot. Shot 2. Great shot.
We're just trying to help every shooter out there, no matter if you're an expert or a beginner, and this product will take your game to the next level.
Works for any of the disciplines. As long as it can find a clay in the image, it will figure out how it's moving and how that shot pattern is going.
Yeah. Now in that shot, I intentionally shot high, which is most people do.
That's what you did.
Yep. So outside the pattern. Now what's it say for the correction of that?
1 foot.
Yep, that'd be correct. Now in this one, I will smoke the target.
If people want to purchase this unit, what's the best way to do it? I mean, is it through your guys' website? Is there a phone number to call, or what's that situation?
Yeah, go to our website, takeaimtech.com, and an online store. We have inventory. We'll ship usually within 24 hours.
Huge thank you to Jim and Bob at Take Aim Tech for supporting Trap Talk.
Okay, this is coming in from John. He is from the Newman Swamp Rants Club in California.
One of my old stomping ground.
Zach knows it well. John is asking, what are the signs and symptoms of crossfiring, and how does one go about fixing that?
Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
Yeah, 2 weeks off and quit. That is not a helpful answer.
Cut that. Hey, John, we need to cut that out. Don't post that. That's bad.
I think it's great. Good advice.
No, it's not. Honestly, you know, I don't see what you'll see a lot of times is you'll see 2 barrels. Your left eye's if you're right-handed, your left eye's taking over. You're right-handed, you know, or you're left-handed, your right eye's taking over. So, how to fix it? I mean, if you just started shooting and you're left eye dominant, shooting right-handed, shoot left-handed. That's what I would recommend. One, that's why Tyler, even though he still puts tape on, because his mother, whatever. That's for another time. But I would just say is you can use. There's some tube sights out there Dusty Klein uses one. Dusty's left eye dominant, shoots right-handed, right eye, 2 eyes open, and it's a long tube that has it's a white sight. Not a fan of the fluorescent, but a white sight this front part is a solid tube, so your left eye cannot see that. So that possibly would help. The blinder I hear helps. I don't use them.
It's just to identify it. I think it creeps in with some people when they're having some dominancy issues. Because there's some people that have had it where everything looks clean for years. And I think his question was like, well, like, how do you notice it? And if you're going over there to the left and you see that barrel go cattywampus, or you see, something like 2 sighting planes or the whole side of the barrel, well, then it's probably happening. Yeah. What I will say before you go like down the deep road, because this has happened to me before, and it was a really simple fix, and I didn't know it until I fixed it, but I was getting behind the gun and my right eye was getting blocked by the rib, and I was actually behind the gun too far. So if you ever get that rib or all that stuff up into the pupil of your eye, well, what happens? Well, this little friend over here starts taking over. So I raised the comb and got the gun out of my eye, and instantaneously, no more crossover, completely fixed it, brand new. So
there's a few things there, Zach, with what you're just saying that I'll go a little deeper on. A lot of people, they mount the gun when they're practicing or just mounting it. They're mounting here, they're mounting here, they're mounting here. Now what happens when they get into a competition? They mount here.
Correct.
Exactly. They're covering. Yeah. They barely see that. So what happens? Both eyes open. When they move, they're pressing in even harder. So I always say, number one, mount that gun the same way every time, same amount of pressure, so you're locked in. And then you won't have that problem. Now, number two, how to identify what Zach was saying, like it's going to the left. If you're shooting right-handed, most likely if that left eye's taking over, you're going to be behind the target. Okay? Going to a right angle, you're going to be in front of the target. So if you can tell where you shot by chance, then you're going to know, well, something's going on. And that's
get a shot tracker.
Raise that comb up just a little bit more maybe, and be like, oh, man, that's not that good. But then shoot, and you'll be able to tell.
Now, here's another little quick tip that you could use. If you're getting beat on the left side and it's only on the left side, which I have before, and sometimes just bad light early in the season, whatever, and I think Rick does the same thing, I'll shift off to the left-hand side of the house. I mean, I'll slide over there a little bit so that target's coming to my right eye instead of being on the inside of the house and chasing it with my left eye. Because if you come in too much with that gun on the inside of the house, well, the first thing it's going to see is your left eye. If you bring that gun over, right, well, now you're catching it from the right-hand side, right? So might be a little uncomfortable, but could help with that cross-dominancy issue if there's no other choice.
If it's the left angle, so I hold, if this is the corner of the front of the house, I'm holding outside, and I see a gap of about that much.
2 feet.
Reason why? No, it's maybe a foot.
A foot.
Reason why is before I knew I needed prescription glasses, my left eye was taking over. And when that left eye would take over when I was on the corner, I'd get beaten. I'm like, what the heck? So I'm like, you know what? I moved out. Well, then my right eye saw it first. Then you were good. So, yeah, it's just quick little things that you can try in practice. Don't do them in the event.
Yeah, don't try something the first time in the tournament after, and then say, oh, well, it didn't work. Well, like you don't have confidence in it. And if you don't have confidence in it, it's not going to work.
That is correct.
Ricky, is that still your hold point on post one? A little outside the house?
Absolutely. I did it for so long, and then it's just so comfortable. Even today, for me, I can still move back to the straightaway, and it's not so straightaway. If I'm holding off, the straightaway comes here. I don't go, at this angle. I go over and then right up it. Yeah, so I can always.
So you come across.
The secret is the over. Because a lot of people will go up and they'll short that every single time.
You go up, you block it, you miss it.
I mean, that, and to that point, this is a question I'm surprised we haven't seen actually on the show yet, is people talking about the initial move to a bird being flat versus up. Like, because if you stand behind and watch, I feel like a lot of the first moves that you guys are making are coming across and then up to it, right? And I think when you
years ago, and I tell everybody, if you move across the house, and it is a different move. Some people look, and that don't work. Well, trust me,
because you see the bird going up, you think you're supposed to go up.
Yeah. And here's the thing: he could be having this issue with this cross dominancy on how he's moving to the target. Could be causing some of that.
Yeah, I mean, so if the angles are going out and you're going up, you're intersecting it at a spot where it's still moving either left or right. Like it's still going that other direction. So I think that's, trap shooting, everyone thinks up, but I feel like it's way more important to move left to right than it is to move up. And that's why I feel like doubles, for me, helped my singles and handicap game that much more because it taught me how to pivot left to right instead of up down.
Yeah. Zach, initially, how did you train that left right move? Because the instinctual move is up. Was it a conscious thing? You said, okay, I have to move left and right, like horizontally, or did you ever work on that?
I would just make sure I kept the target in vision and I didn't block it out. And when I moved with my body and I rotated, I would try rotating with my body instead of pressing up with my arms. I mean, you start pressing up with your arms, you're going to cover it up. But if you keep the target in sight the whole time, you'll do what you need to do.
Yeah, it's just such a better move to the bird when you start off with that left or right move versus up.
Ricky knows. He's taught me all this stuff. He
knows. Yeah, I know. I was just throwing it to you so that Ricky could take his medicine. Hey, you take your cough drops. We're just happy that you're here. We're happy that you're feeling better.
I am.
Okay, guys. Very good. Moving on. These are great questions coming in. Again, we appreciate everybody. If you want to send us questions, ask us at traptalkpodcast.com, and we'll keep getting these guys to answer them for you. And we really appreciate everyone who is watching the show, sending in your questions. As always, if you have questions, send them to ask us at traptalkpodcast.com, and we'll get these two guys to answer them for you. Thanks, everybody.